What's going on, ballers? Thanks so much for tuning in again, and welcome back to another Big J Basketball box break video. Well, no boxes being broken today, but we got a really fun one with a bunch of cards to show off. So a few weeks ago, I showed off the 50 most valuable cards in my entire collection, and that was a ton of fun. Did it in two parts. It was received pretty well, so I wanted to do something similar but a little different this time. These are the top 25 most undervalued cards in my PC. So quote unquote like ghost cards. A lot of these are cards that have not sold in a long time, or maybe no public sales ever on some of these. So we got a lot to get through, so I'm going to slide these out of the way. We got one stack of graded cards, one stack of raw cards. Let's go through the raw cards first, and here is the first one. We got a 2007 Topps Finest Manu Ginobili Black Refractor. This is numbered out of 75, and you'd think a card being numbered to 75 would be very readily available. Nope. I've never seen this card sell ever. I got this a long time ago. All the comps I'm going to give and prices and sale dates and things like that are all from Card Letter. In my opinion, the best platform to find card prices. This last sold on June 8th, 2019. So it's been almost 7 years since one of these sold. The only one that sold on that date was a PSA 10, and it sold for only $31.10, which was an absolute steal. So congrats. I think it was a Pop 1 PSA 10 too. So congrats to whoever bought that for $31. I don't know what this would sell for if it's sold now. It's so hard to gauge just because these never sell. I will say I recently bought a 2006 Topps Chrome Ginobili Black Refractor, which is numbered to 99, as opposed to this one being 75. And this one came out just a year later. I spent almost $200 on that Black Refractor. Topps Finest does not sell nearly what Topps Chrome typically sells for the most part, so I don't think this would sell nearly that much, but I'm sure it would sell for a pretty good amount if one sold now. This one will definitely sell for a lot more if one sells now. So I looked up to see if I could find any sales of this card. Last sale was all the way back on May 31st, 2016. It's been almost 10 years since one of these has sold publicly, graded or raw or whatever. And that sale was for $14.50. Once again, congrats to whoever bought that card. Hopefully they held on to it and still have it, because these things are impossible to find. Some recent sales on other players in the same set. So this Court Vision from 2012 Elite number to 49. LeBron, a couple of LeBrons have sold recently between like $250 and $500, maybe depending on the grade. I saw a recent sale of a Steph Curry, a raw copy that sold for $650. So there's kind of no telling what this would sell for if it did hit the open market. But we're not going to find out because I'm not selling mine. Hopefully someone else will sell one at some point so we can see what that ends up being worth. Next card, we got Alonzo Mourning, 2000 Upper Deck Slam. This was an all acetate set. And this is the extra strength gold parallel, numbered to just 25. Super rare, very hard to find. Last sale I could find on this one was back on July 9th, 2018, and it sold for only $26. So I'm sure if one of these sold now, it would sell for significantly more than that. I found a few other players that have sold recently, like Penny Hardaway has sold for $400. I saw Kevin Garnett sell for $650. I saw Reggie Miller sell for almost $800. So some of these do command really high prices. I'd be really curious to see what one of these would sell for if another one hit the market today. All right, we got some Deni stuff. Got a lot of Deni in this countdown. This is his Obsidian first off the line blue, electric etch blue, numbered to just 16. So very, very, very hard card to find. I think the last sale is the one that I bought back on October 15th, 2023. Got it for $25. And judging by what some other Obsidian parallels of Deni sell for now, there was an orange numbered to 50 that sold recently on March 30th, 2026, and that sold for $30. So, you know, if an orange numbered to 50 is selling for $5 more than I paid for this one, I'm sure if another one of these came up for sale at some point, it would sell for significantly more than $30. So first off the line, number to 16, pretty nice. Not really quite a color match, but the blue definitely probably looks closer to a color match than the electric etch orange number to 50 would look like. Speaking of orange, though, we got a Deni Recon Rookie. This is a orange. The first off the line orange from 2020 was numbered to 25, and this is actually jersey numbered 9 out of 25. Some of the orange first off the line parallels in later years were a little bit more shorter printed, but this one was to 25. Again, the last sale I could find on this card was the one that I bought on September 12th, 2023. I got this at auction for $5.50. Unbelievable that's how cheap Deni's stuff was just a few years ago. More recently, I saw a sale of red parallel from this same set, numbered to 199, not jersey number, just a regular red to 199, sold on March 14th, 2026 for the exact same price that I paid for this one, $5.50. So if a red to 199 is selling for that now, I'm sure a jersey numbered first off the line to 25 would sell for pretty significantly more than that. All right, we got a bunch of nice stuff in mags now. So we got a Deni Noir Statement Edition gold frame, first off the line, numbered to 11. And once again, this one's also jersey numbered, 9 out of 11. Even at the time that I bought this, I couldn't believe how cheap I got it. I bought this on July, I think it's July 29th, 2024. So almost 2 years ago. I paid $38 at auction for this card, which even at the time felt like an incredible steal. And I'm sure now it seems like much more of a steal. So there's also a regular silver frame, non-first off the line version of this card, numbered to 25. And I found a little bit more recent sale of that on August 11th, 2025. So still before the start of this season when his prices really started to go up. That sold for $32 in the summer. So and that was not jersey numbered or anything, just a regular silver frame to 25. So if the silver frame sold now, it would sell for probably more than $30. So this one, I'm assuming is probably over $100 a card if it ever hit market again. All right, next one, another Deni. Panini 1/1 red rookie, numbered to just 15. One of my favorite Deni rookie cards. I really love this 1/1 set. This one, I bought this a few years ago. I think I paid something like 70, 75 bucks, somewhere in that range. At the time, it was pretty expensive. It was one of the more expensive Deni cards I bought a few years ago. And actually prices started to decrease even after I bought it. The last sale I could find for this one was on December 21st, 2024, sold for only $15.50. I remember specifically watching that auction thinking I should bid on it because I didn't want to see it sell for so cheap. I didn't bid on it. I should have. It would have been nice to have a second one of these. But I'm sure if one sold now, it would sell for a lot more than $15 based on other recent comps from this same set. There's a blue parallel numbered to 30 that sold on December 18th, 2025, just last year for $93.60. And then this year, on January 5th, 2026, a purple number to 25 sold for $103. So if the blue to 30 and the purple to 25 are around $100, the red to 15 should definitely outsell both of those. It probably like 10x the last comp of $15. So the next time one of those sells. All right, we got an immaculate premium patch auto rookie of Deni. So this is not the true RPA. I do have the true RPA, number to 99. Those have a much smaller patch window. These premium patch autos, while not the true RPA, they're only numbered to 50 and they have a much bigger patch window. So half the print run of the regular RPA, much bigger patch window. And I don't think immaculate is like National Treasures where the RPA to 99 sells for like way more than all the other patch autos in the same set. These are closer because the immaculate RPA sells for way less than the NT RPA. So last sale on this one was back on April 29th, 2025. Sold for $202.45. So about a year ago. Current RPAs numbered to 99 are all selling for 250 plus. I've seen some go for like as high as 400. So this premium patch auto to 50 would sell, I think, probably a little bit more than the regular to 99, maybe not double, but definitely a premium on this one as opposed to the regular RPA to 99. So pretty cool card there. Next one is definitely a ghost. This is not a rookie. This is a second year National Treasures Clutch Factor patch auto. So it's got on-card auto. This is the gold parallel, numbered out of 10 out of 10. And the coolest thing about this card is that since it's not a rookie, the patch is actually game worn. And for Panini cards outside of Deni's flawless RPAs, I believe this is the only other card that has a game worn patch and an on-card auto in the entire Panini era. So very underrated card that no one really thinks about, and probably because you can't find them. There's only 10. I tried looking in Card Ladder, could not find any legit sales of this anywhere, so not really sure how to value it at all. But there's a base version numbered to 49 that also has a game worn patch, but it's not a patch, it's just a jersey, plain white napkin relic. Still an on-card auto though, numbered to 49. Those are all selling over $100. So this patch to 10, 3-color, awesome chunky patch, this I'm sure would at least be 250, maybe 300 or even more. So really cool card right there. All right, these next two I'll show off together. 2 flawless patches. This Ginobili from 2012, the very first year of flawless, and this Alonzo Mourning with the awesome M nameplate patch from 2017. So last sale on the Ginobili was back on September 9th, 2024. So it's been about a year and a half. That sold for $190, and it was a much weaker patch. These sales are very like patch dependent. So the patch that I saw on that one that sold for over $190 just had a really weak, not a weak patch, but weak compared to this one, I guess. It would be a really good patch if it was any other set. It just kind of had like a piece of one of the front logo piece, but it's just a very kind of flat patch, not as chunky as this one. This is actually from the front of the jersey where it says Spurs. This is, you can see part of the P right here. So if you can see the whole thing, the P would be like that. And then this is the U. That's also the like the Spur logo. So that's a piece of the U, and that's a piece of the logo sticking out right there. So really, really, really premium patch on this one. I have seen other patches with even like better logo pieces that sold for a ton of money, like over $500, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one got in that range if another logo piece like this showed up. And I don't know if this one would sell for quite as much. Last sale I saw on this card was back on May 5th, 2023. So it's been almost 3 years since one of these sold. And that sold for $122. And the one that sold, again, was not nearly as good of a patch as this one. It was nice, but it wasn't a big, nice M plate like that. So really, 2 really nice cards right there. All right, let's get to the graded stuff now. First graded card, we got another Kobe. This is the second and only other Kobe in the countdown here. 2003 Bowman Rookies and Stars Chrome Refractor PSA 8. The coolest thing about this card, though, that I really like, and this is the reason why I bought it, it is serial numbered 1 out of 300. And normally I don't try to make too big of a deal about serial numbers. I like jersey number stuff. I like bookends sometimes. I really like this bookend a lot because it's the first on print. And this is the very first time that Topps, who owns the Bowman brand, made a Bowman set with refractors in the NBA. So this technically is Kobe Bryant's very first Bowman refractor ever in an NBA uniform. So really cool piece of history right there, in my opinion. It is a PSA 8, so the grade hurts the value a little bit. The last PSA 8 that sold was all the way back on April 14th, 2024. So it's been 2 years since a PSA 8 sold, and that was for $252. Kobe's market is way up since then. More recently, there was a PSA 9 that sold on March 30th, 2026 for $925. And I know a 9's better grade than an 8, but again, I don't know. I always felt this was undergraded. I never really saw why it got an 8. I thought the centering was really good on the front. I never really found any issues on the card. So really clean PSA 8. And a raw copy sold even more recently on, I think that was March 29th, 2026. So just a few weeks ago. And that sold for $635. So if a raw is selling for $635, I would assume this PSA 8 first serial number would sell probably somewhere around that range. All right, next one. And now we're getting into some cards that just never sell at all. This is Deni's Mosaic Blue Rookie PSA 10. This is numbered at a 99. Funny thing about this card is I bought a few raw copies of this card for like $1. And I ended up creating those with PSA. They also got 10s, and I sold them a long time ago. I kind of wish I held on to them now to see what they would sell for now. So this PSA 10 is a Pop 5. I've actually owned 3 of them. So here's one of them. The other 2 that I've graded and sold, I don't own anymore. And I actually have the sales of both of those. So I sold one, consigned it on eBay. October 27th, 2024, that sold for only $24.50. And then another one on January 6th, 2025, that sold for even less, only $22.18. I couldn't believe how cheap those sold for at auction. And those are the only 2 sales ever of this PSA 10. So the only sales are ones that I graded and sold. I haven't seen either of those 2 that sold. They've not popped back up on any public platform. And the other 2 of the top 5 have not shown up anywhere. So I have no clue where those are, or if another one's ever going to sell. But a raw copy recently sold for $26, which is more than the last PSA 10s sold for. So if one of these sold now, for raw is 26, a PSA 10 is probably at least $100, maybe even more. So would love to see another one of those sell at some point. Another card that never sells, Deni Optic Pink, PSA 9, but once again, jersey numbered 9 out of 25. Even at the time I bought this one, I couldn't believe how cheap it was. I bought it back on January 22nd, 2024. So over 2 years ago, I won this at auction for $10.50. So basically half the cost of grading is what I paid to get this jersey numbered rookie numbered to 2025. And a PSA 9 is not a bad grade. It's just not a 10. And I have not seen, since I bought that in 2024, I have not seen any copies of this card raw or graded sell anywhere. PSA 9 is a pop 1 and there's 0 higher. So this is the highest graded example of this card and it's jersey numbered. The closest things I could find are, he has some autos that are also pink, numbered to 25, but they're on-card autos. So those probably would sell for more. Recent sales of those are between $275 and $280. I don't know if this one would sell as much as an auto, but being the highest graded example and being jersey numbered, I'm sure it would get a decent amount of money. And again, I'm never going to know what these are going to sell for because I'm never selling them, but it's fun to think about. This one is another Deni. This is a PSA 10 Revolution Cubic rookie, and once again, yes, it is jersey numbered. So I say how I don't really care about serial numbers, and then I'm showing all these jersey numbered copies throughout this whole thing, but that's okay. I like these. This is a Pop 3 PSA 10. So again, you're not going to see a lot of sales of this card. I bought the last sale of a PSA 10 was on August 21st, 2024. So over a year and a half ago, sold for only $46. So and that was a non-jersey numbered copy that sold back then. In terms of recent Revolution PSA 10s, there's not a lot out there, not a lot have sold. The most recent one I could find was on November 28th, 2025. There was a Chinese New Year, not non-numbered version PSA 10 that sold for $160, which that seemed high to me. I thought that was probably a little too high, but this being numbered to 50 and being jersey numbered and also being PSA 10, assuming this would sell for much more than a non-numbered Chinese New Year card. All right, another Deni. This is Courtside Tie-Dye from Select PSA 10. These are numbered out of 25. This one's not jersey numbered, 24 to 25. Last one that sold of this card. This is also a Pop 3, just like the last one we looked at. Last sale on Card Ladder is actually the one that I bought on August 27th, 2024. I won it for $100.99. I'm assuming the next highest bidder bid $99.99, and I just bid more and ended up getting it. And that's there has not been another sale of a Courtside Tie-Dye PSA 10 since then. I did see a Concourse Tie-Dye PSA 10 sell, and that was even that was a year ago. That was back on April 11th, 2025, and that sold for $199.99. So basically double. And again, that was a year ago. Deni's market has basically doubled or tripled again since then. So who knows what Pop 3 PSA 10 like this would sell for now. But again, much more than the $100 that I paid, I'm sure. Got a couple more, or a bunch more Ginobili stuff here. We got a Ultra PSA 9 Rookie Gold Medallion die cut. You can see the die cut shape on the top and bottom. These are numbered out of 100. And once again, PSA 9, very tough grade because of the die cut. A lot of these have dinged up corners and edges. A lot of, especially being like dark corners and edges, very easy to show like dings and dents and damage and stuff. But PSA 9, a very good grade on this one. This is a Pop 4 with, again, 0 higher. So there are no PSA 10s out there. This is the highest graded example of this card. Let's see, I bought this one back on December 22nd, 2022. So it's been like, over 3 years since I bought this, and no other PSA 9s have showed up since then. I bought it for $133.50. So I don't know, this one maybe is not worth a ton more than I bought back then, but I just got to imagine a high graded copy like this with no PSA 10s would sell for a lot more than a raw copy. I have seen a few raw sales of this, but those are all a lot less just because it's such a hard card to grade and a lot of the raw copies aren't in great condition. But PSA 9, I'm sure, would fetch a premium if that hit auction again. We got another Ginobili, one of my favorites, Galactic. This is from the very first year of Galactic, 2015 Revolution. Print run is estimated, I think, at only 20 copies of this card. PSA 9, very good grade on this. This is a Pop 2. Once again, 0 higher. No PSA 10s out there of this card. So I bought this raw. When I bought it raw, it was a little over a year ago, February 2nd, 2025. Bought it for $181.50. I've not seen any other PSA 9 sell again because it's a Pop 2, and this is the one that I bought raw and graded. So it was only a Pop 1 PSA 9 before I graded this one. Never seen that one sell. I have seen some BGS 9.5 sell. The most recent one, and even that was 2 years ago, sold for $444 back in 2024. Not sure what one of these would sell for now, but I think the PSA 9 grade would give it a nice premium, especially over like a raw card, or even sometimes it might not sell for as much as a BGS 9.5, but would definitely get close, I think, with how expensive a lot of PSA graded cards have gotten. All right, down to about the last 6 or 7 cards or so here. More Ginobilis. We got a 2006 Topps Chrome Gold Refractor PSA 9. These are numbered to just 25. Very tough to find these. I actually used to own a PSA 8 jersey numbered copy. I had the 20, I had a 25, but I sold that for a lot of money. Took that money, ended up finding this card raw on eBay, bought it, graded it, got a PSA 9. It's now Pop 1. It's the only PSA 9 in existence. There are 2 10s out there. I do know one of them sold really recently for a lot of money, like several thousands of dollars. So PSA 10s are kind of on a different level with this card, being numbered at just 25 and only being 2 of them. But a PSA 9, being only a Pop 1, I assume would sell more for more than a PSA 8 or even a PSA 7. So PSA 8 sold for $350 back in 2023. So that was 3 years ago. And a lot of these golds have gone up a lot since then, because a PSA 7 sold last year in August for $475. So if a PSA 7 sold almost a year ago for close to $500, I can't imagine what a Pop 1 PSA 9 would sell for. Probably, you know, getting not a $1,000 card, but probably getting close for sure. All right, we got one more Ginobili, and it's this one right here, 2006. A lot of 2006 Ginobili. These both came out from the same year. Man, what a time cards was back then. These gold refractors and credentials, man, awesome time. PSA 9. This is numbered to just 45. Credentials Future, very tough to find in any grade, but especially a PSA 9 you'll never find because this is a Pop 1. 0 higher, no 10s out there. Super tough card to grade. I bought this from someone on Instagram, and I think it shipped from overseas, and I got it, and it looked really good to me. Graded it, got a PSA 9. Couldn't believe it. Now it's the only one. There's no 10s out there. The last sale on this card was a raw copy that was pretty recent on March 14th, 2026. Sold for $250. But it's been over 5 years since any graded copies have sold. And again, there was like a BGS 9 from like 2019 I found, but that's, you know, sale doesn't really matter anymore. But being a Pop 1 with no 10s, I'm sure people who really like high graded cards would be willing to pay up for that one. But again, not going to find out because I'm not going to sell it. All right, these next 2 I'll show off together. 2 more Deni cards. We got these 2 and then 3 more that are all Deni, but really cool stuff here. Clearly Donruss rookies, both PSA 10, hollow mosaic. So not only, these aren't just like, you know, common cards that are valuable because they're in a PSA 10 slab. These are impossible to find really in any grade. And unbelievably, I found these 2 at auction ending on the exact same day. And check this out. This serial number ending in 3147, 3148. So these 2 cards were graded, sent in the same submission, graded right next to each other, both got PSA 10s. And the crazy thing is when I bought these, I bought them from 2 different sellers on the same day. So I don't know what happened and how these got into different hands, but I was glad to buy them and bring them back together like the Infinity Stones. So happy to have both of these. The rookies insert is a pop 2, and this one right here is a pop 1. So you're not really going to find any copies of these. I bought both of these back on January 30th, 2024. So it's been over 2 years since I bought these. I got them for $40 each at auction. Crazy that they both ended at the exact same price too. Really, really, really nuts. But I'm sure if these sold now, way more than $40, could be $400 for all I know. But very cool cards there. All right, these last three, all PSA 10 pop 1s, all impossible to find because I got the only one. So first one here is a Deni Prism Choice Red Rookie, numbered to just 88. 88 up there. PSA 10 pop 1. I bought this, I think it was a probe scene auction. Actually, yeah, I bought this a couple weeks after I bought both of these. I think Deni had like one good game at one point and a bunch of his stuff. He had like a 45-point game and a bunch of people started just dumping his cards right around that same time. So I bought this again, February 2024. I bought this for $81 is what I paid at the auction. It felt like a lot at the time. But again, I'm sure this would sell for much, much, much more than $81 right now. Being a PSA 10 pop 1, it's really hard to gauge what this will be valued at. So I looked at Deni's regular red Prism Rookie numbered to 99 in a PSA 10, which that is a pop 23 and it's numbered to, to 299. It's numbered to 299. It's a pop 23 PSA 10, sold just about a couple weeks ago in April of 2026 for $247. So if that sells for $247, pop 23, number to $299, this one would sell for much, 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 much more. So very happy to have that pop 1 PSA 10. Here's another really cool one. Donruss Hollow Gold Laser PSA 10, numbered out of 10. Again, pop 1. Bought this raw. I think I bought this raw from Card Hobby for next to nothing. It was like 30, 40 bucks, something really cheap for a gold rookie. And even when I graded it, I don't think I looked that close at the pop report because when it came back at 10, I was surprised that it said it was a pop 1. I'm like, wait a second, there's no other 10s out there. This is the only one. So crazy. It's such a cool looking card too. I love how these gold lasers pop in the light. So again, bought this for next to nothing, graded it myself. Recently on February 1st, 2026, a PSA 9 of this card, which is a pop 2, sold at auction for $355. So PSA 9 pop 2 sells for $355. PSA 10 pop 1, again, in my mind, that's got to be like a $1,000 card right there. So very cool. Again, not going to find out because I'm not selling it. And the very last card, one more PSA 10 pop 1, Deni Optic Dragon Choice. Love these dragons. Such a cool card. Very tough to find. Very short printed. You can actually, and if you have like Card Ladder or any like pricing program that goes back further than just the last 90 days, you can see the sale that I bought on eBay for this. It was from DC Sports. I bought it on January 20th, 2024. So over 2 years ago, I won that auction for $17. $17. I couldn't believe how, I wasn't even really buying it to grade. I just wanted one. Because I had one already, but it was, the color looked off. It looked faded. It was kind of weird. This one looked much cleaner, much nicer. But when I got it in hand, I was like, wow, this looks really clean. This actually looks like it could gem potentially. Back centering, definitely off. You can tell Panini or PSA does not care about back centering as much when they're grading cards. But this is still the only PSA 10 out there. So very happy to have the only one. More recently, I saw a PSA 9 on January 6th, 2026. So just a few months ago. PSA 9, which is a pop 5, sold for $250 at auction. So again, PSA 9 pop 5 compared to a PSA 10 pop 1. There's really, there's no math that's going to get you to the right number. But again, I wouldn't sell this for under $1,000, that's for sure. So not sure if that's the actual value or who would determine that, but not going to sell, so we'll never really know. But I like doing the process to kind of try and figure it out. But wow, top 25 most undervalued cards in my collection. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all on the next video.